I don't want to go too into detail, but like, I hated him. I'm like learning from this guy. I don't even know. Like, I met him through BgA, and I'm like, why are you telling me what to do, man? I think that's what having a kid does. It really makes you think about even who you are.
Off. The pill.
Ready?
I've been ready.
Are you sure? All right.
I'm not ready.
Welcome back to another episode of Off the Pill podcast. I thought you were going to do the intro song.
No, you said you didn't want to use that intro song.
God,
one
Paco,
day.
why are you
The
so
stock song.
bad at your job?
With that being said, with that being said, we have Mr. Justin Chon in the house. BgA. You know, in the first song, that was just, there's that, I mean, you guys aren't even on it, but like, it's just me and David in the background. You hear BgA chanting, it's just me and David. We did it like 50 times.
So to try to get different
To make
sounds,
it sound like a
big,
crowd,
yeah.
because you know we don't have real fans doing that for us. So. Dude, one day we'll bring it back. I didn't intro. Paco is also in the thing. There you go.
Yeah, that's a perfect sound for you.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I went all out of order. You know why? Because we are back in Vegas, and it is we haven't done a podcast here in like 3 episodes, but we are back because Justin is in town.
I'm here.
How's it going, man?
It's going good.
It's been a while since you've been out here too.
I know.
Yeah, last time was the last fight.
You came here. The last time you came was for what?
For which fight?
Probably Conor McGregor or something.
Might have
fighting
been. It might have
Mayweather.
been Mayweather McGregor.
That's
it was
a long time ago.
It was that fight. It was that fight, and I remember feeling really, sort of like disappointed. Anyways, you look like you're from the '90s with that hat on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You look like a custodian from the 90s.
I know.
With that haircut and shirt.
You know, I'm trying. That's the look I'm going for. I just want to.
You want to explain because I don't know if people know this or not, but you're hella buff right now, and you said you're doing it for a role.
Yeah,
right?
I'm about to leave.
Can you talk about your role?
Yeah. I'm playing. I'm gonna be playing a Korean American adoptee that's getting deported. Yeah.
Korean American adoptee that's getting deported,
And he lives in the South.
and this is the film that you wrote and you're directing.
Yeah,
and
directing.
You're acting in it.
Yeah, I'm acting in it.
And you're working with a big studio. Can you
Yeah.
talk about who you're working with?
Yeah, I mean, the main studio is Macro. There's a co-financier for the film, but Macro made Sorry to Bother You, Mudbound. They made 2 of Denzel Washington's films, Fences and Roman Esquire. They made they made this film called The Land. You know, they do a lot of like super ethnic driven films. So they're like a good partner for this. But yeah, it's about like, with like deportation and stuff these days. We have the Dreamers and DACA, but like part of it that people aren't talking about is people who are adopted here internationally from like the 70s and 80s are getting deported.
People who are adopted here
By white people.
What do you mean?
By U.S. citizens.
So you adopted meaning like they flew them, like shipped them over?
Yeah, like when you adopt a baby from Africa or China or Korea.
No, I don't know about that. I mean, I know people do it, but I didn't know.
So do you know any like Korean
But don't they
adoptees?
aren't they legal at that point?
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's really messed up.
Oh,
It's
so
like,
that is so they're
it's
legal,
happening.
but they're getting deported.
Well, yeah. What's happening is that they get brought to this country, and there's a Child Citizenship Act of 2000. So anyone adopted after that gets automatically granted citizenship, but anyone before that isn't protected. So if they got adopted here and the parents didn't file like the proper paperwork,
yeah.
now like with the current administration and stuff, ICE is so aggressive that they're using loopholes to deport people like that have no connection to their homeland, and like they were like brought here as kids, and international adoption, a lot of money is exchanged, and
Right.
it's really bad. It's really sad,
Dude, that's
actually.
hella sad.
Yeah.
So what year was this? After they're okay?
After 2000, I think is when they, if you bring a baby from a different country, they're protected. But anyone before, which is just a stupid loophole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like people from
That's what your movie is about, though.
yeah. Well, it's about a guy who is dealing with that, and he's Korean American and grew up in the South. And yeah, so like, he's just trying to get his life. He's starting to like really get his life together, and then a bunch of bad stuff happens, and then he has to deal with the possibility of getting deported.
Okay. Well, I mean, just going back, because I didn't really, for people who don't know who you are, Justin Chon is an actor. You've probably seen him in stuff, a bunch of things. You've been acting for I don't know how long.
For like 18 years, 19.
18 years. Yeah. I mean, you're not really acting as much. You're doing more like directing and stuff. But you were in like a ton of shows. Like I remember you from the Nickelodeon show with what was that?
Just Jordan.
Just Jordan.
It's just Jordan. Yeah. It's just Jordan.
Is that part of it?
That was like the theme song in the beginning.
I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the show, but like
he's like, dude,
I've seen you on it. Like I just remember an Asian dude on it.
I feel like your audience that's listening right now, like the age range, they probably watch.
No, they're actually older than
really.
Because it's podcast, so like younger people don't really care.
Yeah,
well, they were in Twilight. You were in Twilight.
I was in Twilight.
All of them, right?
Yeah, but I'm like a very small part of it. I'm just
you're a human, dude. So was Anna Kendrick.
Yeah,
you were in 21.
21 and over.
21 and over.
Not 21, not the card movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
21 and over.
Yeah. With Miles
Teller and Skylar Astin.
You're in a bunch of stuff, man. I mean, like I said, you were in things that I just remember because there wasn't many Asian people around, and you were just like, oh, Asian dude on Nickelodeon. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And then obviously Twilight, right? But
I know, that was fun.
Isn't it crazy? All the people who played those like the human roles kind of blew up, right?
Well, Anna
Kendrick's huge.
Yeah. But yeah, like.
But if you go back and watch it, you're like, damn, that is I can't believe she played that insignificant role. I mean, that's like, can we talk about Twilight and how, when you told me about it, how you thought, oh my God, this film, well, I don't know if you want to say, what do you want to say?
No, I think we could talk about it now. I mean,
let's talk about it then, because I think people would really want to know.
But when was the first?
Okay, no, let me explain something. Is when I was going to do Twilight, I was just getting off of like children's television, like Nickelodeon, and doing a bunch of stuff for Disney and stuff. And I always wanted to be like an Asian Sean Penn. I wanted to be a serious actor. So I was planning to really stay away from anything that's kind of like, I wanted to try to find serious roles, maybe do some indie films and then my agent called me and said, there's this movie and I think you should go out for it. It's about a family of vampires. And I was like, hell no. Can you cuss on this?
Yeah, you can cuss.
I was just like, fuck no, man. I don't want to go out for that. And then he was like, well, dude, like you don't have a job. You should probably, and like there's not a lot of options for you. Because, at that time, it wasn't as open as it is now.
Yeah.
So
for Asians, you're saying, yeah.
So like the roles were limited. So I was just like, okay, well, who's directing it? And he was like, Catherine Hardwicke. I was like, oh, and she did a movie called 13 and Lords of Dogtown that I really loved.
Pretty good resume.
Yeah, she did like indie films I really love. And then I was like, well, who's the main star? Like it's he was like, well, this girl named Kristen Stewart. I was like, oh, because I had seen a film called Into the Wild.
Yep.
And she has a part in that. She's just so amazing in it. And I was like, I would love to work with her. And then, and that's why I auditioned. And I auditioned like, I don't know, 6-7 times. And
wait, what do you mean?
Because it was because it was during the writer's strike.
Yeah.
So they couldn't rewrite stuff. Like, so we had to do a lot of improv for the audition. So you go in and because they couldn't write new stuff, we had to go and improvise a lot of scenes with the other sort of potential cast members. And then, I showed up. I was like, okay, well, I'm really excited to work with these people, but the film itself, I don't give a fuck. Like it's like, and like the books, it's based off books and stuff. But I was really excited to work with the people involved, but like the actual story, I was like, well, it's just an opportunity, and
right.
But the other thing is I don't think they wanted me.
Oh, really?
Because I was Asian. I think Catherine...
Eric Yorkie, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that... Well, I don't know. Is that an Asian character in the book?
No, but they don't specify his ethnicity. Just that he has black hair and like, I think like nasty, pimply skin or something. I don't know.
You mentioned that well.
But Catherine, I think, came out recently saying like she had problems casting minorities.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think they really wanted me because it was Forks, Washington. They didn't feel like.
Asians
But
live there.
yeah, so Catherine fought for me, and that I am proud of. Anytime I can get a role that isn't meant for me,
Right.
I was really proud of that. So, but and the fact that I'm the only Asian in that entire series is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess like another fun fact is like that for those people who don't know is that you actually did YouTube.
I did.
Yeah.
I did because of you guys. Is you and Kev and
You did it a lot. I mean, like
Yeah.
you were consistent for a little bit.
I did it for like a maybe like half a year.
Yeah.
Dude, your intro is I loved your intro.
Yeah, thanks. But it's I think people don't understand how hard work it is. How much hard work. And I was like, dude, this is like not for me. Like, hard work is not for me.
Not for me, dude.
No, it's just like
No,
it's
but I mean,
just-
you also had your other. It's a real career.
It's
Like,
it's its own career. Like
You can't do it part time.
Yeah, I thought I can maybe like just kind of do it like when I have free time, but it's not the case. Like it has to be a full-time gig.
Yep.
And I was just too busy like acting and doing other stuff and
Just way bigger things.
no, it's not that. Like no,
It's true though.
like YouTube is even bigger than like I think if you're on a network television show, no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I was just on a show for ABC. Nobody has ever recognized me from that. Like no one's ever said, "Oh yeah, you're that guy from that ABC show." But like people recognize me from your YouTube videos.
That's hella funny.
Yeah. So
I mean,
like, yeah.
people. Well, I think it depends on like the size of what your project, right? Because you were in. I mean, like people obviously know you from Twilight because the fan base was so big.
Yeah.
Right. Why don't you talk about how you turned down Pitch Perfect?
We're going in. We are going in.
I think this is all interesting things.
Yeah,
I don't
this
know. You
is
don't
actually
have to talk about that. If
no,
you don't
no,
want
no.
to.
This is all things that I have never talked about in public.
I know. That's why.
Yeah.
And I think it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's an inside world to like a star's life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's not a star. It's
Yeah,
more
but I
like
mean, so it's to a certain degree.
yeah. Yeah. I had just finished shooting 21 and Over, and Skylar Aston was in 21 and Over with me, and we both got cast in Pitch Perfect. So I went straight over from Seattle to I think it was Baton Rouge or Shreveport, Louisiana. So I went from one hotel to another, and I was like, man, I wasn't, I thought I wanted to do it, and I showed up, and Anna was there, who's I love and known her for a long time. So like I was really stoked, but then we got there, and I saw the reality of what it was. It's like a musical.
And you didn't want to do it.
And I was just like,
But you sing too. Like what
so
about
like,
that?
so like, yeah, the audition was like you had to sing a song and whatever, and I sent a tape in, and I also do think that Skylar put in a good word because he got cast as a lead, and he's like, hey, you need to cast this guy. So I showed up, and then I found myself in like dance rehearsal for like 8 hours a day, and then we were also doing like singing rehearsal, and I was just sitting there like and we're sitting in like a circle, and we're all picking out parts, and I was just trying to do like a falsetto, and I was like, dude, this is not, I feel like a phony. I just don't feel like I belong here.
Because what? You didn't feel like your vocals are on point with them, or like why? Like
yeah, I just
didn't like it.
Yeah, and I just felt like really kind of stupid when we because
Because we were offending so many people.
No, not that.
Not really. He's talking about his personal.
My personal experience is like, and every day at the end of the day, we would kind of show the director the choreography and stuff, and you got to get in it. You got to really like be in it, like doing the whole dance.
Like
and
you have to
everything.
commit because you can tell when someone's not committed.
Commit, and I think I can also talk about. I know I could talk about this, but like because we've hashed it out personally. There's an actor named Utkarsh, and he's in everything now. He's going to be in Brittany Runs a Marathon. He played Mindy Kaling's younger brother in the Mindy Project. He's in Mulan. He's in like a film with Ryan Reynolds right now. He's a huge Indian American actor.
Okay.
And I didn't like him. And like we were at it. Like me and him were like, and he was like, Anyway, like I don't want to go too.
That guy's in Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, he's in Pitch Perfect. He plays a rap. He plays a
oh,
rapper guy.
That guy, yeah.
And me and him didn't get along.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go too into detail, but like I hated him, right? And I don't think he liked me either. And that was another reason I was like, dude. And it just like as a week went by, I was like, I want to get out. I don't want to do this. And also like 21 and Over was talking about doing a reshoot in China because they got some Chinese money, so we had to shoot part of the movie in China.
Yeah.
And then also Kev wanted me to do some stupid movie with him.
Right, the one he was filming in Hawaii.
Yeah. And I was like, which is probably the dumbest thing I ever did is I gave up Pitch Perfect to go do Kevin's YouTube movie.
See, that's friendship though. That's loyalty.
That's pretty loyal. That's pretty loyal.
Pitch Perfect was, and you knew. I mean, it had a big budget. I mean,
I knew it was going to be. Yeah, and it's music and stuff, and it's entertaining. I knew it was going to be good. It's just at that time, and sometimes in life, you have to do what's best for your soul, not for your bank account.
Yeah. Damn, that's deep.
So I was just like, you know what? I'd rather go chill in Hawaii, and I'm glad I did. I mean, it changed my life. You know, like spending that much time in Hawaii, and Hawaii is like a second home to me. So like, I'm glad I did that. But like, also, I was like so just partied out. I was drinking so much and all that stuff, and I was just kind of done. And Hawaii was like a little bit relaxing, and then I had to. I went from like being in a hotel and to sharing a bed with Kevin in like an apartment in Hawaii.
Kev Jumba for people who don't know what we're talking about.
And which movie were you guys shooting?
Hang Loose.
Okay, with Dante, right?
Yeah, I love Dante, Basco, Rufio. But yeah, since then, like, if I could just indulge you guys in the conflict between me and Utkarsh, we tested for a NBC show. For a TV show, what happens is you have to go test for a show like for like the executives, and so I made it to the final round, and then I was just waiting in the room to go test, and then the elevator opens, and it was Utkarsh, and we hadn't seen each other since Pitch Perfect, and the elevator opened, and he looked at me, he's like, fuck, and I was like, what the fuck, and I just like turned my. We just like, and then we were just like, you have to test a few times. You have to test for the network in the studio. And then by the second or third day, like, Utkarsh is like, can I talk to you? I was like, yeah, cool, man. And we went into like an empty room while we're waiting to like go into audition. And he's like, man, and I will give it to him. Like, he was a bigger man. He like apologized first and we pieced it out. And
what made you hate him so much? Like, why did you guys hate each other so much?
I don't know, man. I just like, I mean, we're both different people.
Yeah.
And I can't like speak on his behalf because it's, I don't know what's going on in his life, but like, I was also a different person.
Yeah.
And we just didn't get along. Sometimes, when you meet somebody for the first time, they rub you the wrong way and you just don't vibe with somebody. I feel like, and here's the thing is sometimes you don't vibe because actually you're a lot more similar than you'd like to admit, and I think you see parts of yourself in somebody that you don't like, but you're actually like hating on yourself, but then it's your insecurities that make you kind of, hone in on that and start to like, let it bother you, but I don't know. Utkarsh is a sweetheart. He's a really amazing guy, and
you guys are cool.
And yeah, we're totally cool now, and we've hung out a bunch of times since then. So like, I think sometimes that kind of conflict helps you actually become closer. I don't know.
Well, that's, I mean,
you wanted to talk about Pitch Perfect, man.
This kind of stuff is like, people are gonna clip it and just send it to all these different actors. And, okay, well, I mean, I did want to because I think that's interesting. I think it's super. It's an inside look that a lot of people don't get to see.
Definitely, yeah.
But I mean, now you're doing, like I said, you did acting for I don't know how long. I mean, you're still acting, but really your claim to fame currently is you're directing because you've been directing films and writing them and. Recently, you've had 2 films make it into Sundance back to back. Your last 2 films both made it into Sundance and won an award. Well, one of them won an award.
Yeah,
right, and that's huge. I don't know if people know that, but getting into Sundance is like super prestigious, and it's name some other movies that.
Fruitvale Station,
the drumming one, right?
Whiplash.
Yeah. It's really tough to get into Sundance, and your last 2 in a row that you directed got in there. So right now you're kind of like you're kind of like like hot right now in that world directing?
In the indie sort of like.
And wait, did you also write those as well?
Yeah, I wrote them.
You wrote, direct, acted in.
I acted in the first movie Gook.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't in my most recent film, Ms. Purple.
So what's going on with that one right now, Ms. Purple?
So I went to Sundance with that this January, and it comes out in theaters September 6th in LA at the Newark in Santa Monica, and then it'll expand to New York in 2 landmark theaters, and then after that it'll expand to most major cities. You know, I think it's gonna be through landmark theaters. But yeah, you know, it's about a estranged brother and sister who grew up in like a gentrifying Koreatown in Los Angeles, and their dad is close to passing away. He's terminally ill, and the daughter has stuck around to care for him, and their live-in hospice nurse quits, so she's forced to have to contact her brother, who and begs him to help her take care of him, because she has to make money and work and pay for stuff. And what she does for work is she's a karaoke hostess. And you know, if you're from LA or you're Korean, you might be familiar with like the Toumi culture. It's like, you know, you go to karaoke room and girls come in. They're like kind of like hostesses, and they come and hang out with guys for money. So it kind of explores that world in a way, but it's really about a brother and sister's relationship. I have a younger sister, and our relationship has been pretty complicated over the years, and you know, and dealing with our parents and kind of divvying up responsibilities. And I think the brother-sister relationship specifically is pretty particular, because it's like one's a guy and one's a girl, and I haven't seen that really sort of explored in film. You know, there's only a few films that talk about that. I mean, like, you know, You Can Count on Me, The Savages, Skeleton Twins, but that's about it. You know, I mean, I feel like Edge of 17 kind of touched on it, because like, you know, the girl is dealing with all this stuff, and then you find out the brother, you know, there was all this stuff that he was holding in, but like, it wasn't like the main sort of thing. This is like the main meal is like their relationship. But it's also an empowering story. Like she needs to, I think she lives in a very lonely solitude existence of a world. And part of her journey is to understand that there's a world outside of hers. And that's why there's a whole Chicano storyline that weaves through the story, and things that kind of bring her out of her comfort zone. And by the end, you know, I think she starts to realize and learn how maybe she can live a healthier life. But
when does this come out?
This comes out September 6th in LA. In LA.
September 6th in LA, yeah. And then New York, you said?
New York the next weekend.
And then other landmark theaters.
It'll be in San Francisco, Seattle, like it'll be in most major cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Ms. Purple.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was curious as to your writing process and how you get into that, because with the whole brother sister relationship, like you're obviously drawing from that experience. Yeah. And maybe like with Gook and stuff, if you want to talk about that, because it shows like different intricacies. I think it was during the riots, right?
Yeah, it takes place during the 92 LA riots.
Yeah. And then your next one is with kind of like deportation. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if you have any actual experience with it, but maybe like you could kind of take us through the story of all three.
Yeah, well, you know, I think there's a reason or purpose for the art that I make. I mean, I feel like most people on the internet know me to be an idiot. But I think you know, as a filmmaker, I my purpose really solely is to there's a few things actually. The first and foremost is I am trying to bring empathy to our community as Asian Americans. So like, if somebody that's outside of our community watches a film, they maybe understand how we operate or can empathize for us a little bit more. So that's the first criteria. Second criteria is, you know, we have Crazy Rich Asians, Black Panther, and all these sort of, you know, Miss Bala, these films that are strictly, you know, cast and include people of that ethnicity, which is great. But I'm also interested in my art exploring how we coexist and interconnect and all that stuff. So those are two things that drive me in terms of what I want to say. As for the writing process, you know, everything I do it needs to come from a very personal place. The one I'm about to do, I read a few news articles about people who were getting deported, and every time I read a story like that, I would start crying like crazy because it's really sad. And it's like some of these people have to leave their families behind, and you know, me being like a new dad and having a 1.5-year-old, like I couldn't even imagine that. And also like just for somebody like that to be abandoned by their parents and given up for adoption, and then a lot of these people go through the foster care system because even their adopted parents sometimes don't want them. And then, you know, fast forward like 2 decades, finding out that the U.S., the place you could call home, doesn't want you and is kicking you out. I think that's a very
it's like a double. It's like getting pretty much kicked in the ass. Like your whole life.
Yeah, my heart goes out to them. So like, you know, giving a platform to a community that doesn't have a voice, I think is a worthwhile endeavor. You know, so you know those are some reasons why I make the art that I do, and you know, I want to be like sort of the counter programming. We have like the Justin Lins and the James Wans and you know, John Chu's, and they're doing amazing work, and they're really great in that studio, like big time studio system. I think I'm really great at drama and, you know, and in comedy and stuff, but like much more intimate and real kind of stories. So I'm like the counter programming to that. And I think I just make a nice balance.
I think it's really interesting that you, I mean, a lot of people say that, right? A lot of artists will say, I'm all about like the art and not anything else, not like the fame, I just want to make art.
Yeah.
But you were presented with some huge opportunities to work with like really financed films, like big studios. You were offered, basically you could have went that route.
Yeah.
You could have went the route of being the next director of a Marvel film or something, but instead you chose, I mean, that doesn't appeal to you.
Well, money doesn't drive me.
Uh-huh.
That's the biggest thing is I've seen what money, like, and fame and all that stuff. I've seen people who have it.
Right.
And we all know that doesn't make you happy. I mean, it's not, you can be happy with money and fame if your sort of internal compass is right. But if it's just, that's the only thing you're looking for, you're going to find yourself very, very empty. So money doesn't drive me. I think money is a great sort of indicator if you're doing great work, because money, I think, follows talent, right? So I don't focus on that. I don't focus on the biggest opportunity or the biggest career move. I focus on what feels right to me and artistically and spiritually, and you know, what makes sense for my family. I think if you do one of those huge movies, you won't see your family for like 3 years. You're like constantly working and you're having to answer someone. That's the other thing that I really, really value is autonomy. Like, I really value being the master of my own life and not having to answer to like people telling me what I have to do or how I need to do it, especially with art. So, yeah, I value that. So like, you know, those kind of opportunities, I'm very flattered, but as of right now, I think there's a lot of work to be done that I feel is important, that I need to do first. I'm not saying I'll never do it, you know, like it'd be really fun to do like a big
$100 million.
Yeah, $100 million movie. But you know, my baby's like really young and I don't want to miss out.
My baby's like really young.
My baby's like a baby. My baby's a baby, and I'll never get that time back with her.
Yeah.
So, you know, I work from home. Like I do, like my editor, Reynolds, who's also from Hawaii, Reynolds Barney. And his name is actual Reynolds Barney.
Just roasting him. He's not here.
I know, I love him though. But like, he's over at my house. We're editing in my office, and like, I do that on purpose, and I stay home as much as I can to be with my baby. But if I was doing studio film, I really doubt they're gonna let me edit from my home.
Of course,
You know,
I don't think so.
they're gonna make me edit from the edit bay, and they're gonna come in and out to look at the progress and everything. But I do that so I can, for now at least, when my kid doesn't want me around, then that's maybe when I'll go do like a bigger film and just bounce and do that whole thing. But right now, I think like there's some stories that I think can change people's opinion, in a different way. And I tell stories about people who aren't the 0.01%, like my stories aren't really like fantastical. They're like a realistic look at our lives, like it's a lot of my films are about the working class. They're not about like super rich people. They're just about like normal people like us, and I also think that's valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, we'll come back and we'll talk about another film that we had in mind.
Yeah.
But before we get there, we have to take a quick shishi break, and we are out. And we're back.
And we're back.
GTFO. That's so. What were we talking about?
You guys are talking about your new upcoming film that you might do.
Well, you were talking about how you like to do more real things, and whenever me and Justin come up with ideas, because it's usually stemming from me, it's really dumb. Like really, we have really dumb ideas.
But I like that too.
Yeah,
it's like
it's a nice break, right?
Yeah, you got to have your meal, but you also have to have your dessert. You know,
Yeah.
like
I think that's something that I really like about you is that you don't try to get stuck in like one cubicle. Like you have a lot of different facets to who you are.
in one cube.
Yeah. You have many different faces to your cube.
I have a lot of little cubes.
Yeah. You're a cubie. You're a cube.
I'm a cube.
Yep. But no, I think that's what's really cool about you is that there's so many different sides to you that there are some people who are going to be like, oh, I don't think Justin's a dumbass. Like he's really serious.
Yeah.
And I really like those types of people.
Thanks. Yeah. I don't like you, but it's okay. But thanks. Yeah, I mean,
I take it back.
Yeah, take it all back, man.
Fuck you.
No, yeah, thanks, man. No, I think like I just want to live a full life. And I think there's too many things to experience than to just be one thing, and I feel like that's what you guys are doing, like with this podcast, and you guys are trying out new stuff, and like you could just be doing the same old, but like, yeah, there's too much cool stuff to do to just be like the serious guy or the funny guy, that's why I love when I see, comedians do like dramas and stuff. Like, I love like when Jim Carrey did The Truman Show or Eternal Sunshine, and then I also like when really serious guys do like stupid comedies, like when Matt Damon did that one film with Greg Kinnear, I think Stuck on You, where they play Siamese twins or this, like stuff like that. I love when they do stuff like that. But I think that there's so many ways we can like express ourselves. Why limit it to just the same old boring bullshit?
So let's talk about how you guys are going to explore yourself in this new dumb idea that you have.
Oh, this dumb idea.
I mean, it's been a long time of us like still saying we're gonna do it, but we just never do it. But we were trying to write a BgA movie.
Yeah.
For people who, I don't know if you don't know what that is, it's just our fake K-pop band that we made. It started off as one video, a joke, and it just did really well.
Yeah, it did a huge international reach.
Yeah, I remember the first one because it's literally saying "dongsaide," which means I have to take a shit, right? In Korean.
Yeah.
I initially it's just me and David, right? I recorded it's just my voice really, and then we're like, okay, well we need a band, and I was like, okay, what Asians do I know that can be a part of this? Obviously, Justin's one, right? Because I know he can sing too. You didn't really need to sing, but and then I got Phil because I know he likes to dance, and then June I kind of just met, but I knew he was into K-pop.
Yeah.
And it was just super helpful to have him.
He's like the identity of K-pop.
He is. He literally
That's his life.
He literally is doing still like by himself. He's doing
He carried on with BgA by himself.
He's literally like
He's the one holding the torch. The only one.
the last video was about him leaving the group and start doing it because he's the star.
Yeah.
And it's happening.
Yeah.
This is real life.
You know, actually, I've gone to some general meetings with like some studio people.
Yeah.
And they bring it up.
They bring up BgA.
Yeah, they go like, so
Hey,
tell
what
me.
is this, dude?
Yeah.
Like,
Some like a few in particular were like, hey, so tell about this, like, what is this BgA thing? And I start laughing. I'm like, why did you watch that? Because these are like old white men, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, why did you watch
why
that?
though? Like, because do they have kids? Is that
I don't know.
Oh.
I didn't ask.
or
I
maybe they
was
just typed in Justin Chon and they're
yeah,
in the
but then they love
description?
it. They're just like,
Oh,
no,
that's
it's
funny.
like so fun and they love it. But but I think we also like that's something that you did was sort of like with the whole YouTube, you help bridge the gap because it started off such a little thing and you and some other people like really blew it up into something that's like more, now it's mainstream. Like YouTube is not like, it's not a niche thing. It's actually more big than what we were talking about than like TV shows or whatever it is.
To the point of where networks are adapting to like kind of the YouTube formula.
Yeah,
Whether
so
it's all about streaming and videos on demand.
yeah, so I feel like it's just as legitimate. You know, I remember actually being on Twilight and explaining to them, I was like, yeah, I'm doing this YouTube thing. And they're like, why would you do that?
Why would you waste your time?
Yeah, and I was like, no, you don't understand. Like this can be, you know, reach a lot of people, and it's the new thing that I feel is going to be huge. And you know, watching how you guys were operating, I don't think they were seeing that yet, and everybody was catching up. But now it's legitimate, more legitimate than anything, you know. But I don't mind. I don't mind doing some BgA shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we were working on we have another song that still needs to be, we wrote it out, David and I, and it needs to be recorded still.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys have auditions? For, like, rappers, like you need a Filipino rapper or something?
It would have to fit the
No,
storyline.
no, we don't need anybody like that.
Yeah,
What about
not in particular. Like,
yeah, I don't think so.
who was it that keeps asking me? Like, it was funny because like I said, it was so casual the way I was like, hey, Justin, you want to do this like K-pop video?
Yeah.
It wasn't gonna be a big deal. Same with like Phil and them. I was just like, but then like people were like, man, why didn't you pick me? Like other like Asian friends that I had.
real?
Yeah.
They're like jealous that like
Like even like Wes, I think wanted to do it at some point. I don't know if he actually wanted to. He said like,
he was just like, why didn't you
Yeah.
ask me?
yeah, or like
I think Wes would have been good.
Yeah,
He looks very like,
He has that look too.
yeah. You know, Wes is like slick, undercover, sort of like sexy.
Yeah.
You know, like I could see how
Like
like
a mysterious.
yeah, mysterious and
We're
quiet.
talking Wes from Wong Fu Productions.
Yeah,
He's-
Wes from Wong
But he's
Fu.
the one that the girls like, right? From Wong
Yeah,
Fu.
he's like the mysterious, quiet one, but like he has style and like, and you're kind of like,
hella style.
but he also seems like a guy that would take care of his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like a really
And-
nice dude.
Yeah, like, but then is also like, has like the brooding, like male sort of like energy, but then also sensitive. Yeah, and then we have Phil.
I'm sending this that section to Phil. Just to Phil.
There needs to be a like Justin shots fired compilation. All the people he's talking shit about.
Well, I mean, speaking, if there's any BgA fans watching, they're gonna be shocked because I mean, if they only know you from BgA,
yeah.
like you said, they probably think you're an idiot and
Oh,
an
for
asshole.
sure.
They probably think you're an
Yeah.
asshole. Like you really do hate June.
Yeah,
And we gotta keep that going.
We gotta keep that going.
He really does hate June.
Fuck June.
Yeah.
God damn.
Put that in the compilation.
One of the Twitter questions is from June.
No way.
And it says, "Do you remember me?"
Hey, tell him. He should go watch Pixar's.
You're telling him right now.
Oh, hey, June, you should watch Pixar's Coco. I don't remember you. Who are like
Damn.
who's? What's his name? Username.
June Curry on.
So June, like, why the fuck do you have curry in your name? Like, what is that about? I don't understand.
It wants to be like Korean. That's why.
Curry on.
Yeah.
Damn, he
That's
just
dumb
showed
as
you.
fuck.
See, the hate. People are gonna really believe that you hate him. So we gotta keep it going. Yeah, BgA is a real thing, guys. We're not playing characters. It's written so that they're all very exaggerated versions of ourselves.
David's question to you was, are you secretly in love with June Curry on?
Hey, man. Sexuality, it should be fluid. So I wouldn't be ashamed of rubbing.
Where's this going?
You know, that space between the balls.
That's why you want to pull his hair.
But I know, I think I
it
secretly...
comes from a place of
I
like,
think it comes from a secret
secretly love
frustration.
him.
Yeah, I think it comes from secret sexual frustration.
Yeah.
I just look at it, I just want to fucking...
Oh my God, we are getting demonetized.
You want to leave him purple.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just like, I feel like, yeah. Just
Isn't
like,
it funny though how that natural, like that relation, like the first script, you weren't really, I'm trying to remember how it started. We weren't mean to June.
Yeah, I think it just evolved.
It just
that
happened,
way.
like on set.
Yeah.
Like it just became an ongoing joke.
You know what I think it was though? I think it's because he was like the slave driver.
Yeah.
So we had to learn that stupid dance the first video, and like we like actually had to rehearse.
Yeah.
And I'm like learning from this guy I don't even know. Like I met him through BgA, and I'm like, why are you telling me what to do, man? And I think that it's like that secret frustration evolved from that. And I was like, oh, but he's kind of cute. But why are you telling me what to do?
I felt bad for June a lot because we are all so bad and like not really taking the dance part seriously.
And he was so serious about it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I told him from the start, like, because he choreographed the first one, and then he had a friend helping us with the second one. And I was like, I saw the second, I was like, dude, this is too hard, man. Like,
But I gotta say, the dancing in the first one is way better. It was actually
because
like
it was easier.
Yeah,
it was easier.
But
We
it
cut-
looked-
did you notice how much we cut out of the dancing?
on
in the second
but
one.
Yeah, but our dancing was better in the first one. Yeah, second one was we were barely even dancing because we were so lazy. We're like,
Yeah.
nah, man. It was like just cut a lot, and a lot of it was just us like messing around. Like that shot that was all like,
Yeah.
that was the other thing. June directed the second one.
Yeah.
and he was really making me frustrated.
How so?
His directing style, man, because he just takes too long with everything. I'm like, hurry.
This is a roasting June section. This is gonna be part of the storyline. It's like June comes back and he's like,
hurry up.
I've heard your podcast. Like I've heard I heard the podcast.
And you know what?
This is super deep too, right?
Yeah.
I heard your
I know. My name is June Curry on, and I have I don't want your video to get demonetized. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Don't
It's too
demonetize
late.
us, man.
It's too late.
But no. But you know, he's very talented.
Yeah.
He's very talented. He did a great job with that music. It looked really great, and he's a good dancer. He's an amazing violinist.
Yeah. He's trying to.
He's
back
really
yourself
good.
up
His
right now.
his skills on the strings is like uncanny. Just really amazing on that violin. With that, violin, the bow is made of horsetail.
Really?
So he's really good. Like he's connected to animals and
Yeah.
and connected to the earth.
Yeah.
So
He's really good with wood in his neck.
yeah,
We gotta get June on the podcast, but then bring Justin back and not tell June.
Yeah.
Like Justin will just be there.
Yeah.
There's no way June's gonna watch all the way to this point.
No. You know what needs to happen is you need to set him up, like make him get real comfortable, and then start having him kind of like talk a little bit of shit.
Yeah.
And then I should open the door with like headphones on and be like, I've been listening to you the entire.
I don't think the thing is June so nice. I don't think he would talk shit even if like he'd be like, oh yeah, Justin sometimes says some things to me. So,
Yeah.
I don't think June would do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny how that just became a thing. Like
it became a thing, and
it's people's favorite relationship. It's either you love the love-hate relationship between you and June, or you just love David for being David.
Yeah, David's funny too in it.
Yeah.
We hope to continue it on in movie form at some point. But what I want to talk about right now is Paco's stand-up career.
No, let's Twitter questions.
I really want to. Yeah, I want
We
to.
gotta
I want to
discuss.
talk. I want to talk about Paco's stand-up comedy career. We, for the viewers at home, Paco and Ryan were in LA for they're doing the podcast in LA and
The previous one.
Yeah, and we went out for some drinks and then we came back and we forced Paco to do a stand up act for us, and we all like critiqued him.
Well, let's preface this. Like Paco never let me. I would say like, hey, he's like, well, I'm gonna do an open mic, and like he would never tell me where it was.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, you need critics that like you need people to tell you like when it's not good. Like,
and also,
no, for sure.
Yeah. Also, we need to preface that we know nothing about stand-up comedy, nor we are like our opinions are valid in any way. We just wanted to like give honest feedback of how like as just normal people, like if we like it or not. That's all. Like,
and another thing that I would put in is that you guys come from a standpoint of like storytelling. You know, like you guys do really well at storytelling. So in that aspect, because my jokes aren't just like, oh, these are one-liners. You know, where it does come from a place of, oh, there's some reality to this. Yeah. So that's why I was like, you know, I do feel comfortable, but also because I really do look up to you.
Yeah, but we just wanted to get a little taste. Of the Paco jam.
And after I did my set, they destroyed me for like a good 30 minutes.
But that's why I respect you more now, because you really took it in stride. You didn't let it like, you know, be personal, and you know, that's hard to do. Like, it's hard to take criticism. You know, we're just speaking from like a non-professional standpoint, just how we took it. Yeah. Yeah. But you know, I think that right now Paco should do it. No
way. Well, I mean, I think how this could be relative to a lot of people is that, I mean, I think people need to, if you're gonna try and do something, you have to like commit to it and then be open to the criticism. I think. Yeah, I think it's really tough to do.
No, but there's a reason why, and you understand why I didn't want you guys. Like, I'm okay with performing at open mics at like bars, coffee shops to people I have no idea who they are, you know? Because that, like, in the end, when I do stand-up comedy, it's going to be for people like that starting off. It's going to be for people who have no idea who I am. With you guys, it's a lot more personal because of the relationship that we have. Like, the audience has seen Justin will shit on me all day, and I'm cool with it, and it's fun. And then Ryan will do that too, and I'm cool with it too. But when it comes to like, oh, this is something that, you know, I'm trying to work on this craft and stand-up enough, and then to have like to think, oh, are they just gonna shit on that too? You know?
Yeah. I see what you mean. So
that's why I was very much so like, I would only want to invite you and only have you there when I get to a point of like, I'm comfortable. I've worked on this hundreds of times. You know, I've made this set good enough where I'm confident that I can get you to laugh.
Yeah, where you feel proud.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, tonight, I think you have to, you know, when people come over to Ryan's house, I think, you know,
just so people know, people are coming over to my house.
Yeah.
No, but what we're trying to say is, I think, I will say I respect that you took criticism very well. Yeah. And I think that's important for a lot of people. It's tough, man. In anything,
so
especially if it's your job.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
if you just work and something you take pride in, something you love, and someone comes and criticizes you, I mean, it comes from a place of us trying to help, right?
Yeah.
But even then, that's tough, man.
But that's a path to progress. That's a path to mastery. Yeah. Is you have to, you know, be open to not being awesome, you know, and at least I can speak for myself is like, I know like, I'm like a novice and just starting out as a director and writer and all that stuff. And I need to always be open and get wrecked all the time. The more times I get wrecked, the better I'll get, because if I learn from it.
What's some negative criticism you've gotten for like Gook?
Like Gook specifically, you know, some one review said like, you know, it was kind of messy and, but they also talked about like, you know, you could tell there was a raw artist passion behind it, that it kind of makes up for it. But I have to admit, there's parts that are pretty rough, and the way I shot it was super low budget and scrappy. So like I didn't have time or you know, the resources to make it super polished. But I look at it now and taking that sort of note from the reviews, and you know, I generally don't read the reviews. It's more like, you know, I ask like peers, you know, especially when I'm editing and I'm getting to a stage where it's getting kind of close to locking the film, so I can send it off to like sound and color and all that stuff. We'll work on it, and then at night I'll always have at least one screening, and I'll invite the scariest people that I admire or whatever, and I'll have them watch it and give me notes. And sometimes it's really, I'm like, oh, you know, and a lot of times they're right. And always it's always a note behind the note. So they might say like, this section just doesn't, it's kind of just like bad. It sucks. And then it's like, I have to really go back and then be like, okay, instead of being like, fuck you don't know what you're talking about, just really think about it and then get the note behind the note. And maybe he's saying it just felt slow, or maybe the editing wasn't crisp enough and it wasn't engaging enough. Or like maybe he's saying it was bad because he wasn't clear on the protagonist, sort of how they were feeling in the moment. And that's something I have to decipher afterward. But like, for me to be like, he doesn't know what he's talking, like that part's not bad. Like it's, sometimes people, their notes aren't, you know, because they're talking in the moment. They haven't had time to process for a long time what they're saying. So that's like an example, you know, and that, you know, when I'm in the editing phase, I'm constantly, and then, you know, and then sometimes like you also, but here's the other thing, Paco, is like sometimes you also have to stick to your gun sometimes. You go, no, that's just my style, or that's how I express myself. You have to know when something is, you know, very sort of integral to who you are, and then some stuff that's just more of a practical, technical thing that you need to improve upon, you know? So like people were ragging on sort of some of my music choices, and that saying it was too all over the place. But I like that because I'm not one thing. And they're like, well, there's too many tonal shifts in my films. And I'm like, frankly, I don't give a fuck about that specific thing that they're talking about. And that's something that I want to hold on to. But yeah, I don't know.
We're kind of wrapping it up because time is, but I just wanted to throw in one more Twitter question, because you are actually the first father guest.
Oh,
we haven't had any guests that has
never thought about
even had kids, except for your mom.
Yes.
Yeah. But so, because you are kind of seen again as a crazy person, you know, you're doing so many things. How has having a kid like changed your view on a lot of things, or even life?
Yeah, it has. That's the simple answer. But I think having a kid can go two ways. You can just live your life and kind of be irresponsible, or it forces you to be really, you know, we're talking about self-aware and introspective. It forces you to examine who you are as a human, because now you have this child that's come into the world, and you have to, you know, you have to determine who you're going to be, and who the person that they're going to call dad. And so it's made me have to take a second look at the type of art that I'm making, right? So if you notice, the art that I'm making is...
I mean, speaking of which, though, like, how are you going to explain to her BgA?
Yeah, but, you know, that's, you know, it's fun, though, you know?
Yeah.
It's fun. But, like, in terms of, you know, feature films, they all have a purpose, and I can stand confidently in it on 2 feet in front of her and say, yeah, I did it for this reason. I was trying to give these people a voice. And then sometimes it's okay to be like, I really truly believe that sometimes the answer can be like, we needed money. Everybody needs money to survive, so I needed to take that job because our family needed the money. But but at the same time, I've become kinder. I've become more compassionate. I've become more sympathetic and empathetic towards people. I'm not quick to judge. I try not to be. I try not to be as judgmental, because all that sort of, and also I try not to speak really negatively about other people. Like,
and this all changed when you had a baby.
Yeah. Well, not overnight, but slowly as you
So
examine.
it is true then. That does change you once you have a kid.
Yeah, but it's your own personal decision if you want to change or not. But, you know, I don't want to bring... You know, I think you've seen me change over the years.
Yeah,
and we're talking about this last night. And I think before I was much more aggressive. And, you know, I look at myself now and I think I'm not as aggressive in the sense that somebody's like, I'm not... Before I'd be like, oh yeah, screw that guy. You know, fuck that guy. I hate that guy. I don't do that as much because I don't want to bring that energy home. And I think that's what a baby does. And in terms of work... some people go in the direction of like, I need to make more money to give my kid what they need. And then there's the other option, which is like, no. All that stuff doesn't matter. I think what's more important is molding her to be somebody that you think will be a great member of society. What's more important is, well, yeah, you can either try and make more money to try to give your kids what you think they need, but then my philosophy is to spend more time with them and try to mold, give them a strong foundation. You can't make your kid become anything. They're going to be who they're going to be. And my job is to kind of give them the tools or what I think is productive and constructive for them to go out in the world. And then it's on them. But I think that's what having a kid does. It really makes you think about even who you are. And you have to become more selfless, because a kid, they can't care for themselves. You have to care for them. So in that way, I think I've become less egotistical. I think being a creative and an actor is one of the most narcissistic endeavors one can take on, because you're just thinking constantly about yourself and how you come across, and having a kid really takes you outside of that, and it's less about like your own sort of hang-ups and ego, which I think is a beautiful thing. So you guys should have kids. Yeah, so I guess you want to go pick one up, or
we can have one together.
Nah, I'm good, dude.
Dude, imagine if you guys had a kid.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a good way to end off. So Paco and I are going to go get kids.
Yeah.
Again, just to wrap up, Justin, your film, Ms. Purple, comes out when?
September 6th at the Newark in Santa Monica.
Yep.
It'll expand to other theaters in Los Angeles and California, San Francisco, Irvine, but then the next weekend after September 6th, the following weekend was at the September 12th. It'll be in New York at 2 landmark theaters in the city, and it'll expand out to most major cities after that. Ms. Purple.
Ms. Purple. Gook is still on Netflix, right?
Netflix, yeah. But Netflix is pretty messed up. They do something.
We're not gonna go there.
They do something that's called a pan and scan. We shot that film anamorphic, which is like widescreen.
Yeah.
And what they do is a pan and scan. They pan and scan it, and they scan it, and they cut off the ends. And they
really?
Dude. And they decide when to pan. So, like, for example, there's that shot with the 2 brothers arguing, and she's in the middle. It's cut off at the ends, and they decide when to pan to each. So
I didn't know that.
Watch it on Netflix. But if you want to see the true aspect ratio, buy it on iTunes.
Yeah, support
or pirate it, whatever.
Or that's still
the director. He cares more about the vision.
Yeah, he cares more about the art. That's what I'm talking about.
Pirate my shit.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you again, Justin, for being here. You can follow us at Off the Pill Podcast on Instagram, at Off the Pill on Twitter. Leave us your questions and stuff like that there.
Where else can they find you, though?
I usually mostly use Instagram.
But you barely use it, right?
Yeah, you don't even follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll follow you. But no, I use it in between projects. But when I'm really focused on like filming, because I need to concentrate. But you could just follow me at Justin Chon on Instagram, and if you want to slide into my DMs, I'll take a look.
But also because if they follow you on Instagram, it'll be a good way to get a reminder, like, oh, this is coming out.
Yeah. And I do like post stuff about the process. Like I'll post stuff when I'm in the edit or on set. So if you're interested in filmmaking at all, like, follow
it's a good follow.
Yeah,
behind the scenes stuff.
Also, if you want to see cute pictures of my kid,
Hoppa babies.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how we normally end it, we just breathe into the mic in 3, 2, 1. That was very aggressive.